On. I don't know if you can see it. It says, share the gospel, not your opinions. Share the gospel, not your opinions. What you'll find, give me a second here, I gotta reconnect that. Boy, they in here big. Make them smaller. They in here too big. What you'll find in a lot of churches and temples and everything else, that they're not sharing their religion, they're sharing their opinions. And especially with the gospel, it's very important not to offend. So we all share our opinions. Again, I have to preface that with the idea that we all share our opinions and we've all fallen short of the glory of God, and none of us seek after God. None of us seek after God. We seek after a certain level of self-preservation. And that steers us from seeking after God. And God knew we would fail like that, so that's the name of the exercise. People began to judge one another and create these laws, but within it, there was a metaphysical game, again, a possession, to cause them to violate law. Is my hat not straight? I can't figure this out. It looks funny on this. I gotta get one of them poles so I can hold the thing up and do that thing. What people do with the selfie pole, I guess they call it. But they judge people, and they're possessing them to violate the law, the ethic, the morality that they judge people by. Again, I've denoted that as a spiritual Munchausen by proxy. Boy, it's beautiful out here. But we're having a surge right now in Tyler, Texas, like we've never had before. Again, sin will get you every time. Sin will get you every time. Now, we all sin, and we've all fallen short of the glory of God, and as long as you're on the planet, I promise you, you're going to sin. You're just going to sin. It's just, you just can't see it. So what happens is we begin to judge other people's sin and see their sin, but not see our own. So again, people say, well, if I say, what do you think, you're sinless? They go, well, I don't sin. I'm not sinless, but I sin less than that person. So again, it's built into the English language also. You're not sinless, and you don't sin less. Remember that. Oh, well, it's really, I don't think, a horrific increase. But, you know, they just got that big war, they all big, and then they send the troops out to destroy the people, and now they look like egg on the face. And now you got on a war, but now they got the worst surge they've ever had. And for all they know, it'll triple next week. They'll keep the troops doing what they're supposed to be doing instead of going after the people. Yes, you now have troops here in Tyler, Texas. You've given up the right for them to be... Somebody tried making a voice for me. Let me get rid of that person. You have now moved your police out of the mind of law enforcement, and now they're in the mind of what's called enemies, foreign and domestic. Now, I'm not asking anybody to do anything to cause a disruption to those people. God will take care of that business. Enemies, foreign and domestic, are the type of people that destroy the U.S. citizens. Spycraft destruction of U.S. citizens is engaged in by a voluminous number of foreign entities known as the enemies foreign. You are now doing that. So you've decided that you would be the enemy domestic and pick and choose who has the right to life, liberty, and happiness and who doesn't. But of course, it's part of a communist Nazi type of thing that's rife throughout the United States. Spycraft, psychological warfare. It's that simple. I know you call it an investigative technique and you've heard from the FBI and you've experienced wonderful investigations with it. But I guarantee you, you'd have less crime. You wouldn't move people to crime. But, oh, well, we're not doing that. But you are. But you are. So again, they're making themselves famous by causing crime in your communities. They cause murders, they cause suicides, and come along and laugh. That's how sick these people are. Again, I'm not asking anybody to do anything violent. God will take care of all those issues for us. But give God the way. Don't pray for people that commit that sin unto death. So again, the government needs to be nicer to people because that's what they're supposed to be. You're supposed to be. Don't tell me you have to be a crazed spycraft murderer just to keep people safe, because the proof is in the pudding. We ain't been safe in decades. Once they get them in to do this stuff, they can't stop themselves. Everybody good is seen as a threat to their ability to stay out of prison. You know, in Tyler, Texas, several cities are like this. It's almost cheaper to rent a house than it is to rent an apartment. But then again, for an alone person like me, who's alone because of the deep state, shadow government, criminal enterprise, and all their spycraft and psychological warfare activity, an apartment's a little better because you have people you can kind of talk to. The stay suites are great too, because usually you have somebody at the front you can have a conversation with every so often, or some of the cleaning ladies. They tried to psychologically torture me around a cleaning lady so that I wouldn't have conversations with people anymore. They're psycho. They need to go to hell. Oh no, but I got a badge, and if you say I go to hell, then that means you're a criminal. No, it doesn't. They wore badges when they took out Jesus. Your bought and paid for preachers can go to hell with you. Your bought and paid for preachers could go to hell with you. We knew they would exist, the synagogue of Satan. The FBI and the CIA have preachers that they hire, and that they're experts. Of course, it's another gospel. It's the gospel of Satan. The gospel of psychological warfare, and the gospel of psychological torture. And the gospel of perverting people. That's God's honest truth. But again, I'm not asking you to be violent in any way, shape, or form. And if these people work for you, I'm asking you to be verbally violent on them as soon as possible. Before God comes and strikes the whole nation dead. But I'm not asking anybody to do anything violent. Just give way to God. Don't act out violently, because then God can't act. Because you enter into something different at that point. Now, if you're drugged and you do it, then God will still act for you. Because they're not going to do that. Oh, this person did that, saying he's not with God. Well, why did you psychologically operate that person and surreptitiously drug them into it if you say it's not with God? So that's another thing that they game around the world. And of course, where did the games come from? Those same people that killed Jesus. The same people that killed Jesus played the same games they played with they played that same game with Jesus, and they played it with the Christians afterwards. But we go to church, and more unfriendly to the church. I was the biggest, friendliest church person in the world till you took over the churches. Pieces of garbage. Now, if your church isn't affected, then it's not affected. Because Satan doesn't have it all that big yet. But Satan does have churches. And that's Satan being the whore of Babylon CIA, the whore of Babylon FBI, the whore of Babylon state and local governments, including police departments, where that whore resides. Well, it's a nice day out here. And they Babylon all day about people, believe me. And they spell you. That's what their watch list is. Now, of course, somewhere on the watch list, they can point to a case where it actually worked. Do you think if you spend trillions of dollars murdering and harming U.S. citizens, somewhere in there, you'll be able to point to a case that actually works? And of course, they make it look that way. That's their intention, to deceive. We're talking about the biggest liars on, we gotta be the biggest liars on earth to make it work. No, you don't. You gotta be with God, be the best way, but if you were honest, God would still bless your coming and going. This station ain't been safe in decades because you got devils, demons, antichrists, witches, and sorcerers working in every department and agency in the world. Boy, nobody out today. It's kind of quiet. Well, I guess it's Sunday. Everybody's planning the next KKK rally in Tyler, Texas, in them churches. Whether it be against a white person or an African American. There are African American people that are similar to KKK. I mean, where have all the good government people gone? Probably they're all dead, killed by their co-workers that are satanic. Again, if your church isn't affected, then that's great. More power to you. And I don't come to your church because they'll come in and operate you. And I don't want to force you to have to make a decision to be a devil. Or have your life ruined. That's your government. Under Obama, under Bush, under Trump, you name it. Under Clinton. You just take your politics and go to hell with it. I'm about to try to figure out what I'm going to do today. I got to do something tomorrow. So I got to make that decision today. I got to figure out where I'm going to move to. Because I can't live in this place past this month. I really need to get out of there now, but I have no place to go to that I can figure out. Not healthy to live in this place. So it's condemned by God as far as what has happened here to cause me to get sick in this place. Well, praise God in all that you do. No violence. Be very friendly to people. But speak your mind. You have to speak your mind, or nobody's going to know what to do. Praise God.